Hello, we're live. It's a Stardock stream. I'm Adam. That's Paul.
Hello.
We are talking some beta news today, among some other things. And I think the music in the game is way too loud. Paul, could you turn that down for us when you get
I
a
just
moment?
hit damn load. I don't think I can turn down while it's doing this thing.
Man, why didn't you build volume controls into the loading screen, Paul? Come on. You should have foreseen this.
Well, maybe I can here. Let's see.
Oh, I wouldn't even trust that.
Eh?
Oh, no, that's better.
Eh?
All right. Oh, that's right, because that is Windows 8, which actually has the useful
Yeah.
volume control. The Windows 7 media control sucks. Anyway, hooray. So we're set. We are playing our internal build this week again, which is great. This is going to look a lot like what you see coming out in the beta later this month. Later this month. Soon. So we have a bunch of things. We showed a bit of some of the improved shipped graphics last week, but one thing I noticed this week is that Bloom is actually in and makes a surprising amount of difference.
Actually, the Bloom was in. It was just there was a weird bug that was making it fail when we turned off the HDR, the ambient occlusion.
Yes.
They both use the same thing. I wanted to actually open up the Alterian so people could kind of see the glossiness in its all its glory. These are the well, I don't know, actually the Iridium are pretty damn glossy.
Yeah, the Terrans are too, actually. It's really just the Drengen that are less glossy.
Well, that's just hurtful.
I know you love your Drengens.
No, I just so hopefully people will be very happy with the cosmetic improvements. It's still beta, so there is more things we can do, but I think that the shader is now essentially pretty amazing.
I think it looks great, personally.
Yeah, this is, considering this is written more or less by one guy, who is our engine guy, Jesse, and he had to do some crazy voodoo to get the blending and like all this crazy lean map stuff so that you'll notice that like things used to kind of flicker where they were thin and there was a hot highlight. So when you wanted things to be glossy, you'd end up with these really hard little lines, and that is all gone now. And it's really impressive. Hopefully people will notice. I'm sure the beta players will, because they haven't seen this yet. This is all in the current alpha has got none of this. So very excited about that.
For sure. Getting a lot of questions about, are we going to have an Alpha 4? At this point, it looks like no.
No.
Which, apologize to you guys a little bit, I guess. But, you'll all get the beta. So
Yes.
It's not like you're not going to be able to play with all the toys that we're building. Uh-oh. What'd you do?
I did a game within a game. This is the ultimate test of of an internal build, is game within a game. So just warning. Warning.
Yeah, for whatever reason, just because it's hard to do all that cleanup, I guess.
Yeah. It's funny. It's not supposed to be hard, and once it's working, like see in this case, it worked fine. Once it's working, you have to have that. It's got to be robust and it's got to be awesome. But when you're developing, and the damn planets are still showing up in the. And we've got a buttload of new events.
Oh yeah, I noticed that when I was playing a little bit this morning.
Today yesterday, we made it so that. Have people seen the new little? Yeah, I think they did.
The what?
The numbers and stuff on.
Oh yeah, the new interface or the new UI call out for the adjacency. Yes, that was in last week.
The reason I actually wanted to play as Terrans was to show off some starbases, but I think in order to do that, I'm going to have to cheat, or else we won't have enough
Yeah, I was going to
time.
say, you just cheat up a constructor.
Why cheat up one? We can cheat up 24.
That's an excellent point.
Anyways, what was I saying?
Something
beta.
Something beta, probably. You were wondering whether people had seen the improvement thing, the adjacency, the new adjacency indicators. One thing that I noticed is that a lot of the race-specific text stuff has gotten in. So like I was doing a little Terran game just to test out this build this morning, and we have things like forced labor camps instead of factories.
Well, you mean a Drengen one?
Did I say Terran?
Yes.
Whatever. I meant Drengen.
And I'm actually going to rename the damn first one is called Labor Camp, and the second one is called Forced Labor Camp. And people are like, I'm getting this unlocked, and I'm crap. So I wanted it.
Don't you have Buckled to do a lot of that you?
Well, yeah, but just the naming. He's
Oh,
not
sure.
really worried about the naming. I wanted to be able to essentially go, oh, come on, people. I want to build starbases quickly and efficiently. What was I saying? Oh, the problem with, yeah, I do have him actually make a naming pass, but it's like hard. It's easier for me to give him a name and then have him, sexy it up.
Sure.
But the problem is the labor camp starts, you get it for free, right? So
Right.
I don't want to waste it. And also I wanted the tech tree to kind of be a descent into evilness, right? So it starts off with like in the Drengen, instead of being colonization, this is called exploitation. And then you go to xeno exploitation or whatever it's called. And this is where you start making slaves. So the first one is labor camp. This is where we put the people to work. The next one is forced labor camp. If they're not doing something, put them to work. And then the one up here is slavery, which is like, hey, let's just call a spade and admit they're slaves. And then essentially the rest of all of this is based on exploiting poor slaves. And let me say, it's very weird to be writing descriptions for slave things. Like,
yeah.
Like, I feel like I'm going to get yelled at by the ASPCA or something. It's like, what monster is writing these? Oh, it's me.
Yeah.
And then I pass him off to Chris, and he comes back with funnier and even eviler versions.
That's the thing, though, because if you can make it like, this is obviously, evil.
Yeah.
Theoretically, people will hopefully understand that they're playing a space game, and that Stardock does not, in fact,
endorse
slavery.
No,
That's
we
right.
do not endorse slavery.
All labor camps that's created by Stardock are all voluntary labor camps, and everything's fine. Okay. So, luckily, I mean, Buckles is really good. He's our writer, and he really, it's amazing the difference that it makes. And I know I've harped on this on the stream before, but it really is. Yeah. So.
Oh, this screen is not fixed. That will be fixed by the time you see it, people. Ignore
the man behind the curtain.
What you just
the screen behind the
there.
curtain. I don't know. It doesn't look terrible. I mean, it's unfinished.
It's all over the place.
Somebody asked in the stream when or if the NDA will be lifted so they can stream the game. There is no NDA for Galactic Civilization 3. You are more than welcome.
Already a bunch of people who have streamed.
Oh, for sure. I mean, we're streaming it every week. So no, please do feel free to.
That's one of the reasons why people ask, why we have the. Oh, look, it still says alpha here. One of the reasons why we have the watermark is because we don't mind you streaming the game. We just don't want.
We don't want somebody to look at some big stream to get to be high in the YouTube search rankings.
Yeah, and then it's like, oh wow, this is awesome, but man, it's sure buggy or sure like incomplete, and it's like
8 months from now, and we just look.
Oh my god, unlock works so much faster and not in debug. In debug, it takes like 3 minutes because now it has to go through everybody's tech trees and. So please feel free to stream. Yes, we encourage it.
And tweet us a link to it. We will we can give some shout outs to that, see if you can get a couple more viewers. Running through some questions. Somebody noticed some mysterious new races in the new game screen.
Yes. Well, they're not mysterious.
They're not mysterious.
They're the races that are going to be in the base game. We just wanted to start showing them. They're not going to be in the beta. They'll be in the next. We're going to roll them out like 2 at a time in the next few betas, but
so you'll see them.
Yeah,
you'll see them. You'll see them soon.
We're planning on doing. I'm sorry, I got distracted. We've got economic base.
Oh, those do look nice.
Well, these
I
are
have not
just the
seen
base
these.
ones, military base, and yeah, that's why I want to show them because nobody sees these because I don't think people realize they work. Okay, so. Although I'm mad because you have to hit turn before oh damn it, I built 2 cultural bases. Who needs
you ruined everything.
Anyway, so I'm gonna need more constructors.
And
Anyway,
here
keep
I was
going,
making
keep
fun of
going.
you.
I
No,
will-
all right. So yeah. So obviously the 8 races are pretty much known what's going to be in there. So you will see those starting with the beta later this month, which will be great. But you won't be able to play them. But they will be soon. It's really just a matter of not throwing everything at the wall for the beta to make sure it actually comes out and is good and doesn't completely blow up. Let's see. People complaining about the fog of war. What is the deal with the fog of war?
What is the complaint with the fog of war?
They don't think it's as pretty as necessarily some of these starbases and things are.
Well, we purposely have kept it kind of simple, but we could experiment with doing more with it, I suppose, at some point. Here, I'm going to just go ahead and ramp this all the way up to...
So we had another question.
So, I mean, we'll probably
That's
be playing with that, but you don't want it distracting.
Right.
So originally, in the original mock-up, the fog of war was actually like a grid, and it was kind of overwhelming. So we'll play with it. We might at least I would like to at least make the gray fog kind of foggy.
Sure.
We just it's a polish thing. It doesn't affect gameplay, so it's not a high priority thing.
Sure. Question from Facebook we got. What are your plans for showcasing player-made ships in battles and other live sequences? Well, I mean, for the most part, your ships will certainly be represented in battle and everything, just like anything else is. There's nothing really that makes a player-made ship any different than a default ship or an included ship, I guess.
Yeah.
So they'll be in there. Now that said, our cinematics team is actually working on a bunch of awesome stuff that'll start rolling in soon into the game. I don't actually know what's going to be in beta for day one, but we have our cinematics team that we hired and staffed up, and they're making some cool pre-rendered cutscenes for different events, like your first planet colonized and different stuff like that. And because those are pre-rendered, obviously they are not able to take the player-made ships, and they'll be populated.
It has always been one of my dreams to make the cutscenes. Oh, this is I'm making the same thing. Darn it! To make the cutscenes. Sorry. Okay.
See, this is why it's good to have two people on the street.
It has always been my dream to make the cutscenes actually feature your own ships. But turns out that's not entirely practical.
Well, yeah, because we'd have to do the cutscenes in real time, which is not something that we're doing.
So here we have the decked out Terran military.
That's awesome.
And then there's the decked out Terran culture. And and I know people probably haven't got time to explore, but unlike in Galactic 2, and this may change, but you don't have to select you don't have to select like right off the bat. You can build like defenses and stuff into a starbase before you commit to a type.
Oh, that's nice. So they're not completely vulnerable without stationing a fleet there.
So but you can still build. What am I saying?
I'm not really sure.
Anyways, but they still have different specialties. Once you add the ring, in which case this is, like I said, this is
because you choose one of 3 rings
ring,
or 4 rings, right?
And then once you start adding the economic ring, that is a prerequisite for all of the economic modules. So it's just like Galactic 2, except for that you don't have to decide right off the bat. And
Gotcha.
And also, unlike in Galactic 2, you can, at least once you have higher miniaturization, you can actually start putting multiple constructors on a single ship. So like these
that'll be
ones
handy.
have 2 each, which is why I now have 10. Oh wait, I don't want to economic. Oh god.
We had a couple questions come in on the forum. Satoru One had some good questions about just kind of the rollout of the beta. Will there be ample notice both here and on the Steam discussion hub about the time frame of when beta will begin? Yes, you will know for sure. We will blast. Trust us. Trust me. I will blast that information everywhere. It'll be there. Don't worry. And then will there be ample notice before the $100 tier becomes unavailable? Because if you didn't know, we're going to cut off the Elite Founders Edition when we go to beta. So it's going to be your last chance to become an Elite Founder.
I assume
which
those
is
notice would be the same exact
you'll
message,
know.
yes.
Yeah. We'll definitely let people know. Because, I mean, we want to make sure that people have the chance to buy that if that's what they want to do, right? So we're not going to like stealth yank it away. The $100 edition, of course, is what's available now on Steam or through Stardock. It gets you Galactic Civilizations 3 plus all of the expansions and DLC that we ever make for the game, which is going to be lots because we like Galciv and we're going to be making Galciv for a long time.
Here is the economic. This is the fully decked out economic starbase. You can kind of tell they all kind of have this shape. The culture ones, depending on all the races, are these kind of 4-leaf clovers. The military ones are always kind of shielded like that. The mining ones, whoops, where'd he go? The mining ones always have like mining pylons. And
I like the animation on those. That's cool.
So, yeah, so everybody, unlike in Galciv 2, everybody has their own unique star bases. So that's really nice. And they said, my dream one of these days is to make it so that players can design star bases, but that's not going to happen right away.
That was one of the questions we had in the chat, actually, is whether or not players will be able to design their own star bases.
Oh, and I don't think this was in last week, so this.
I don't believe it was.
Matter.
Yeah, that looks way better.
And
because I think it was just using the Illyrium or Durantium or something before.
Yeah, well, I think it was just using the rocks. Yeah. So that's in now.
Very nice. Question about how mining rings work. I mean, it's pretty much you build a starbase and you build a mining ring, and that's how you mine up the resources, correct?
That is exactly correct. Right now, and I'm actually, somebody's changing this right now. I thought it would be so clever if, I don't want to have to commit to a mining ring just to claim a resource. So any starbase will claim a resource, which is like this economic ring is actually claiming both of these.
Sure.
Which is lovely and all. And I'm not wasting it. But the problem is now I build a mining resource nearby, and they're both owned by this. So I either have to make it smart enough to go, oh, wait, hand over the thing.
Sure.
And because you want that mining base, because the mining base is the only one who can get higher yields out of those resources.
Oh, so you'll get like a basic amount.
Yeah,
if you,
so
with
like
any
right now I'm getting one antimatter, right, and one Durantium from this. And then if I go up here to this mining base, who's doing this Durantium, and I probably didn't actually put any more on here. But this one, I mean, you can get, and people actually, I think, kind of asked about this. You can get up to 10.
Oh, wow.
Off of one node with all the high techs and everything. So that is, that's pushing it. That's like late game. So people are like, well, oh my God, I have to have 10 asteroids to build 10 ships. No, but if you have 10 ones that you're not mining fully, yes. So, gotcha. And you can also, once economics are in, you can actually trade for Durantium, and you could just buy it from somebody.
That's cool. Yeah, you're probably doomed to making a little heuristic for what starbase claims it, because otherwise, like with immobile starbases, you could kind of totally hose yourself. Otherwise, unfortunately. So,
well, if you mouse over a resource, although here, let me find one that is not claimed.
The question, will the leader screens be able to accept animation files so I can make the Taurians in Galciv 3? You'll be able to make custom races for sure. I guess I don't know.
You can just put a bink in, yes.
You can put a bink. So if you can make
you're not going to be able to put in like a 3D robot or anything, but yes. You can put in a bink. I think you might have to convert it to bink 2.
Bink is a video style.
Yeah, but the rad tools, which is what you use to make binks, is free. So
I didn't know that.
You need to render a video, but I mean, right. You can take a picture of yourself with your iPhone going like this, and then bink it and put it in, and you're the leader. So yeah, you could totally do that.
Cool. Obviously, Paul has mentioned many times there's probably expansions and DLCs and things, so you don't necessarily have to write off all of your favorite races from Galciv 2.
Yeah, and the expansions we will bring back people and some new ones.
Some new ones for sure.
I'm still just dying to finally get the Snathy playable.
I don't think we've had a stream where you haven't talked about the Snathy in a couple of weeks.
They're evil squirrels. They're kind of the quintessential Galciv race. I'm really mad that the planet names are still showing up. It's embarrassing to me. I'm embarrassed.
So,
Hey, they're not in this build, or are they?
oh, the actual descriptions.
Oh, yeah, and they actually are doing stuff now.
Oh,
So
sure.
yeah, a lot of these, not all of them, but like there's some pretty cool ones. Like
This is the new ideology tree, by the way,
yeah,
which has been revamped quite a bit.
there's like Rally gives every one of your planets a large ship. Fear, or what is it? Greed, intimidation, exploitation, aggression. I think gives you 5 fully loaded transports. I mean, these take a while to get up to. It's
Sure.
hard to balance, and I'm sure they'll be getting tweaked quite a bit before they get out. But there's some good stuff. There's things that give all your planets a tile. There are things that give certain planets, like give your first 5 planets a big approval bonus. There are things that give your first 5 planets influence bonuses. I mean, I mean, right now, I don't know if they're quite, too powerful or too easy. So people will have to let us know. But we want these to be like, when you get an ideology trait, to be like, ooh, I got something.
Sure.
So that's going to be really exciting.
We had a good question for ideology. Must we commit to one, or can we pursue multiple?
You can pursue multiple, but they will get more expensive as you jump from tree to tree. So essentially, there's a penalty as you go up. It's not a penalty, really. If you're just going up one tree, it just, the cost goes up a little bit. That's mostly for us to balance. In case we worry that people are getting things too fast, we can just multiply that. But there is also if I buy a trait and then buy another trait from another tree, the other 2 trees, their prices go up. So
Gotcha.
It's essentially to kind of make you realize,
To push
to give it some
players,
heft.
yeah. Well, and to push players to commit without hard forcing them.
A person playing a giant galaxy over a week or whatever, or a day, a full day, will in theory be able to get every trait.
Sure.
But it would be a big effort, and it might even require a little bit of jogging the numbers to make sure you do it just the right direction.
So here's something I'm curious about, and I'll be curious to see what people think about it, because it's something I've thought about. In the tabs on the right side of the main view there, you have your planets and ships and starbases and stuff. Do you think we need to add starports onto there?
You mean like, it's not.
Or, shipyards, excuse me, sorry.
You mean like that?
Oh, like that. Look at that.
I don't
think
a
I've
good
seen
idea. I think we should do that.
Oh, cool.
Actually, Colin did that yesterday.
Okay, I don't feel that bad if it went in
needs a little bit of
yesterday.
love. Because right now it shows defenses and hit points, and those are kind of irrelevant to a starport. Though I haven't given up on the idea of allowing you to arm your starport, so I didn't want to remove that until. But yeah, right now it just shows it there. It's so that you can quickly get to them. And the bigger problem, which is actually being fixed right now, is that all the starbases are called starbase.
Yeah, I noticed that, and there's no rename
That
currently.
is a very. Oh, you should be able to rename them.
I didn't know. Couldn't see a rename.
I'm crushed. Oh, I think you can do it here.
Ah, there you go.
Starbase.
All right. Had a good question in the chat here. Will the morality random events be returning?
Yes. Yes. As a matter of fact, they are already in. They're just not in the beta. There is like I said, we've been focusing on morality random events are coming back. Anomalies are now going to have not in the beta, but after the beta are going to have morality. Not all of them, but certain ones. And I'm going to take, there's one right now that just gives you 15 this and gives you, and that's not really cool, especially because of like I said, the penalty.
Right.
You get 15, you're like, oh, I'm going to go get this. Now all of a sudden all my moral ones went up and then you had no choice of getting it. So I'm going to take those out for the beta. But in the next beta or whatever we do, we're going to start introducing anomalies that are kind of like Fallen Enchanters. It's like, essentially, they're not really a quest, but they're like, make a decision.
Sure.
And then you get a reward. So it'll allow people to, and then that will feed into the ideology, which will make the ideology more powerful.
Cool. Had some questions. Gonathor is one of our longtime posters, and he's got a bunch of questions that I've been ignoring for weeks. What is the current status of the other 4 major races? They are in production. We are building them. There's a lot of ships and things that need to be built, and they will be added, as we mentioned earlier, into the beta as it continues. A good question here. Will approval affect all races the same?
Well, yes and no. They all obey the same rules, obviously. But if you have, like the Altarians have and one of their traits is approval bonus. So they're 10 points in the black already. So that means they can gouge you 5 points more. I will say currently, probably in the beta, approval will err on the side of being too easy.
Sure.
So mostly because there's a lot of approval bumping things in diplomacy and the galactic resources, like we had in Gauss of 2, which are going to be called precursor relics. Those things, whereas like you get one of those and all of a sudden you have 100%, but right now those things are missing. So I kind of have a hard time balancing approval. At first, everybody was just mad at you all the time.
Right.
Now they tend to err on happy. I need to, and I hate to admit this, I probably have to increase maintenance costs on things to kind of add some pressure because
add some money pressure
because right now you can literally floor it to here.
Yep. Well, right now you're getting a crazy amount of tourism all the time, or maybe that was just because I had unlocked.
Well, no, yeah, you can see tourism 36. Oh, we unlocked. Yes.
Yeah, I think that must have been what happened to me earlier too.
Yeah, I actually need to reduce that. And actually that money goes up the more people there are on the galaxy, and the more traits you have. And, so that, unlike in Gauss of 2, tourism in Gauss of 2 was literally just a percentage of the population of the galaxy. You just got it. In Gauss of 3, you can actually build improvements on your planets that will make that particular planet's go up. And this one, essentially, so you get these, so now a planet can be better for tourism and an improvement can be better for tourism. So that becomes a much more interactive thing. The problem is right now, the default values are probably just too high. So,
sure.
But you still have to research up to tourism to get it. And hopefully by the time you research up to tourism, an extra 30 or 50 credits a turn is not going to be enough to make, you're not going to bankrupt you.
Let's see. We had what else? Okay, I think we're back. Sorry about that. I was looking at my other screen and didn't notice that the Twitch had imploded on us or XSplit or whatever.
Do we know how long ago?
Oh, not necessarily. The chat is singing a song though, which I appreciate quite a bit. I guess if somebody in the chat wants to tell us where we left off, that'd be great. Otherwise, I'm going to assume that we didn't talk about.
Did we talk about space-time?
Space-time. People somebody on the forum, and this has been asked before. Will we have time anomalies where like ships go in and come out turns later or anything like that?
Yeah. The answer is, I would like to, but they cause a bunch of problems. As I said before, they open a can of worms. Even though nobody heard it. The problem is I actually always wanted to do an event where if certain things were going bad, a ship from the future would come back to help you. So it's like a high-tech ship would come back to help you. But the problem was you had to later, like in 50 turns or whatever, you had to return that ship to send it to yourself. And if you didn't, what happens? Right? And my thought was, wouldn't it be awesome if it just reset the game?
Oh man!
To then, or something like that, or if it just destroyed you. Yeah, and everybody's like, "Oh, I would be so pissed." I'm like, "Yeah, but wouldn't it be an awesome moment?" So these are the joys of being a designer. It's like you think of all these fun things, and everybody's like, "Oh, I'd be so mad." It's like, "Screw you! That would be awesome."
So, I had a question which I think we addressed, but we could probably clarify. If you have anomalies that have morality consequences, are they going to be forced or have options? That was kind of one of the things that you had talked about.
Yes, they will.
Which
have,
is that
they will. The problem is right now they're forced, and they will have options when we get them in. Like I said, I'm going to take them out, the forced ones out for the beta because nobody likes being told that they're evil or good.
Yeah, we had some. And this question has come up a lot before, but it's worth addressing again. Will good be pretty overwhelmingly penalizing while evil is overwhelmingly profitable, like in Galciv 2?
I would like to think not. That's my as the person who's designing it, I would like to think not. But well, I mean, kind of like look at it here. We can look at the ideology tree, and kind of so. Like here's a late game thing that gives you 1,000 points. So essentially gives you like 3 techs. Late game text, or if you could somehow manage to get there early, like 15 early game effects. And you know, and that is a huge deal. There's oh, here's one. All planets in your influence. So this is like essentially instant flips everybody. And here's the thing I added that is a ball breaker is it takes any starbase in your influence.
Oh wow!
So that's a huge one, and that's
you
a
could
good.
And you could do crazy things to prep for that too.
Yeah,
and then just drop this huge bomb.
I'm actually concerned that that's too powerful, but I'm going to leave it in for now and see what happens. Right now, the AI isn't really building starbases, so it's not that good. But in multiplayer, it'll be a big one. But that's kind of like that. Something like that is great. Here's you just get a free Class 16 world. That's a pretty big.
Okay.
Now on the evil side, there is, you know, you get a free large ship on every planet. That's also a huge one. So it just depends on how you play. There's a couple of them, like there's one here. Where is it? All of your influence goes up by 50%. Bam. You know, I mean, like I said, so good. These are big things. I mean, like the pioneering, you get a free colony ship just out of nowhere.
See, I love that we're doing this though, because it's so much better to start overpowered, and if you really have to, dial it back, because overpowered is so much more fun.
The problem is some of these are overpowered and some of them are underpowered, and then I'm like, oh man, I feel like I need to compensate.
Right.
But they're and then a lot of these are disabled in the beta, but most of I'd say about 80% of these are in. Most of the ones that aren't in are because they are related to diplomacy or non-war related things.
Sure. Had some questions about how ideology differs between civilizations. Do they react differently? You know, is it more difficult to be a benevolent Drengen?
You know, that is something. Whoa. Because
you had unlocked, remember?
Yeah, that's weird. I'm playing Terran, so this isn't any different. That's kind of embarrassing. It's hard. It's hard to make this call because I'm essentially, you want the Altarians to be benevolent. As a matter of fact, I'll talk about something that I did just yesterday. Is I am going through and I'm making all of the Altarian approval improvements, like temples, the temple of this and the temple of that, and we all meditate on our navels. And then I'm like, well, what do they have for tourism? So I still have like Xeno, you know, market center, blah, blah, blah. But I was like, what if they had this tourism improvement where essentially they sell precursor artifacts?
Yeah.
And it's like, they're not really,
like everybody, like chunks of the Berlin Wall?
Yeah. Wink, wink, you know, and then I thought, well, what if I essentially make these things that differentiate from the nature of that race, give ideology points? So I was like, maybe every time you build one of these,
you get some benevolence or something,
pragmatic points or some evil points or whatever, right? And then, or just researching this, it's like, yeah, okay, now you can build these, but you just got 10 points. And in some cases, that's awesome. I got 10 points. But if you're playing as the good, you know, Altarians, then that's like, you know,
sure.
So I don't know. We're playing with that.
There's also the fact that, like, I mean, just any of the civilizations with the unique tech trees is going to be kind of pushed a little bit more in one direction or another, right? And so the Drengen are going to be pushed a little bit more toward, you know, fighting and military and conquest.
Well,
and
there
stuff
are
like
certainly things in the Drengen tree that just don't exist. I mean, there are certainly things that the Drengen just don't have. Like, they actually literally don't have as many influence improvements.
Sure.
But they have extra, you know, warfare improvements.
And so you can be benevolent, but you're not going to be able to really maximize the,
well,
like,
you
sort
could
of
in theory.
influence.
Now, that said, say I'm a schizophrenic Drengen and I want to play as a good guy. I can go up my tree like normal. So I got Xeno exploitation here. Whoa.
Are those just really hard to see with the...
No, that's a bug.
Oh, weird. It's like the alpha is way too high on the...
No, these look like they're marked as selected. Oh, it's a bug. Okay,
all right.
Hey, Colin, I know you're going on vacation next week, but can you fix this? Anyways, so the Drengen literally like just don't go up as quick into research because all of their researchers are slaves. But they have some interesting, you know, side effects of that. And then actually they have less farming improvements because they're mostly just focused on meat trees and fun things like that.
That's
and
awful.
then so one of the big differentiators in the trees is is where texts start in the age. So if you go to Drengen, you'll see. Oh, I guess I hadn't. Oh, damn it! It's not in. The Drengen actually go all the way up to matter disruption. They go up to the next level of weapon in the first age.
Oh, that's kind of
Right?
interesting.
The Altarians go to the first level of defense in the first stage. The Terrans are normal like this, but they get all of the augments earlier than everybody else. So we've really done a lot of essentially just changing the flow of the game by what race you are. And then in the future, when you're making custom races, you'll be able to pick a tree, and then that will, So it should be very interesting. I'm really excited to see. I mean, the trees that are in right now are certainly not final, but I can't wait to see people kind of arguing over the strengths of them. And
Yeah.
I'm sure somebody's just going to go, well, obviously the Drengen tree is the best, or obviously the Altarian tree is the best, or whatever. So.
But I mean, that's going to happen. We could have 100% perfect balance, and that'll still happen. I'm
pretty sure it is impossible to have 100% perfect.
Had a question. Can you trade for special texts a la Galciv 2?
Okay, now here's a hotly debated topic. Yes, you can. Okay, but we had to do a lot of voodoo to make that happen. A lot of stress went into this, and then like 2 weeks of my life went into making it so that all the trees can interact. As a matter of fact, like certain things will trade apples to apples. So like if I go to exploitation, labor, this is labor exploitation, mental exploitation, and industrial exploitation. They're very flexible with their naming. And but these are really these are exactly the equivalents of, or slightly different.
Sure.
They might actually be slightly different, but they are kind of apples to apples with the Terran one. So I can trade with these and it'll actually take its place, right? So that's cool. And that would then unlock slavery for me, even though I actually had unlocked in manufacturing specialization.
Sure.
But if it's something completely new like xenoslavery, I could actually trade for that and still also have factory. And so it's actually much more flexible. If anything, we're going to have to dial down how exploitable it is, especially once the AI starts going, because I worry that 20 turns in, the smart AI will just have bought everything that's possible from everybody. So we have to watch that.
Sure.
But yes, and then the funny thing was I went through all this, and then I'm looking through the Twilight of the Arnor tech tree, and I realized that most of the unique texts in Twilight you could not trade. I went through all this going, no, I got to do this. Everybody's going to yell at me if I don't do this. And also I just wanted to have it. And I remembered that you could. And then I find out you really can't. It was very embarrassing.
But it'll be very cool now that all the work is done. So
it makes our trade system much more robust than the Galciv 2.
What is the difference between labor exploitation and industrial exploitation fluff-wise? Buckholz is funny, basically, is the the
really,
difference.
fluff-wise, essentially, labor is hey, you're not doing anything, we're putting you to work, and then forced labor is like, I see you guys, I need some work done, get over here, get to work, and then slavery is, you're doing work forever, and if you die, we'll have your kids do work forever. So yeah,
which
the
Stardock
are a lovely, lovely guys.
That's right.
Also, same even their research is slavery based. So
one of the cool things that I wanted to point out, actually, that I noticed when I was playing earlier today, is that the labor camp, unlike factories, labor camps give an adjacency bonus to military buildings.
I think factories do too.
Oh, do factories do too?
Yeah, although I might be taking that out, actually.
I thought that was a difference that actually was pretty cool with the Drengen.
I'm debating that because there's not that many military things, so I feel like I need to have something else give military bonuses.
And I know a lot of the malevolent cultural improvements give military bonuses and stuff like that, which is cool.
And this one is like slave mills or slave pits give bonuses, adjacency bonuses to both research and.
Oh, that's cool.
But they also don't give anything else. So there's a lot of little flavor I worry that sometimes it's too subtle, which
Sure.
is so we'll balance that.
Sure. That I think is going to just about do it for us this week. I apologize for the little hiccup there. I don't really know what happened, other than we just kind of dropped the stream, which happens occasionally with Twitch and XSplit and that kind of thing. Unfortunately, it's a little bit out of my control. But we're all right. Oh, that's
game
a
is
that's
broken.
a fun one. Send it back.
Unplayable. Now I know
Seriously.
where the Altarians are.
But hey, thanks again a lot for watching. We hope to, like I said, you'll have the beta very, very soon. It's I don't quite have a date yet, so I don't want to give it out, but it'll be this month. This is basically the build that you're gonna get. I mean, it'll be a bit cleaned up with things like the starbase screen.
A lot of data. A lot of data is
yeah.
going in. It's
a lot of the
mostly-
ideology's not in yet. So
well,
that'll be
they're in,
put
but it's mostly like, oh god, I have to rebalance the starbase modules, or I have to rebalance this, or the ideology improvements. Essentially, it's for me, it's going to be a tough week, but but the game itself, the code wise, all the coders would like to think all we're doing at this point is squishing bugs,
right?
Because what we really want is this not only to be fun, but we want it to be stable.
Right.
So that is their number one priority right now, is making sure the game is stable.
For sure. So cool. So thanks for watching. I don't know if you guys saw or care, but we dropped a Legendary Heroes patch last week. So that went up to 1.7, added a bunch of new things, class-specific items, a bunch of AI improvements, stuff like that. So if you are a doubled-up Stardock customer or interested, check out Legendary Heroes. It is looking pretty good. What
do you think of the approval tool?
Oh,
tooltip?
that's
Does
nice.
that
Yes,
express-
I was complaining about that last week, wasn't I?
Oh, you haven't seen this?
No, I haven't seen that at all. That's great.
Okay.
That's a huge improvement.
Yeah, I was just wondering if you had, because I know people are always like, "What does approval do? What does approval do?" And now
Yeah, I was
it's like
bugging you in the chat the
literally
other day.
can look here and it says, "This planet's approval is this because wealth is giving you +5,
That's
pressure
nice.
is giving you a -6. That means you're getting a +2, which means you're above 100." And around 100, and then it says because you're at 100, you're getting 100% growth
That's awesome.
bonus,
That's awesome.
production bonus, influence bonus. Now,
Those numbers are insane, but
but you're not going to be at 100% very often. That's the problem. So
sure.
I need to maybe dial those numbers down. But the whole idea of approval is to get you going early in the game, and that's why those bonuses are really big.
I gotcha. All right. Well, cool. Well, hey, thanks everybody. We will see you next week. Oh God, I'm hitting the wrong button. This is ridiculous.